Okay. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Ahmed Bashar, and with me, as always, is
Nazir Sayed.
And this is your first time tuning in. We're brothers who host a podcast. We talk to creators and artists that we like, and occasionally we'll shoot the bird with talking with just ourselves as well.
Yes, we do that a lot. And today on the podcast, we had the brilliant Ali Abdaal.
We're huge fans of Ali Abdaal. He's an inspiration for us on our podcasting and YouTubing journey.
And he's just the most humble, most down-to-earth person I've ever had the pleasure to talk to of that stature, I would say. Not a lot of people talk to me who have like 1.5 million followers.
Correct.
But he was just really open and really, really expressive about his journeys from Karachi, his journeys to the YouTube world, and being one of the top YouTubers of his genre. So that was just a beautiful conversation.
Yep, I hope you guys enjoy. Watch us on YouTube. We're available on all of the streaming audio platforms.
Yep, and
check it out
if
there
this
as
is your first time on the channel, like and subscribe.
Great.
It's funny. We were actually asked on our podcast 2 weeks ago about our dream guests.
Yeah.
And we mentioned that Ali Abdaal, you are one of our top 5 dream guests. So having you here.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
Top 5. Right under
Wow.
John Mayer.
we actually have a lot
Right
in
under John
common.
Mayer,
with
right.
most of you would think.
okay.
So like right off the bat, the things that we have in common, the Venn diagram of similarities begin with
Yes.
literally our background. You're from Karachi. We're from Karachi. You're living
sick.
you're living in the West. We live in Canada. How has that impacted you? How has your move from Karachi made you as a person? Because you don't really talk about a lot of that stuff on your videos. It's all about the productivity stuff, but we're gonna sway away from it for a little bit. And we're gonna talk
Nice.
about how life in Karachi was.
I was very young. So like I was born in Karachi and then we moved to Lesotho in Southern Africa when I was like 2 years old. So I don't really remember much of Karachi at all. And then we lived in Lesotho for 5-6 years and then went back to Karachi for a year and then came to the UK in like 2003. So most of my, like from age 8 onwards, I was here in the UK. But yeah, before that, it was 1 year in Karachi and then like rest of growing up in Lesotho.
Did you ever go to school in Karachi?
Yeah, went to a school called the Indus Academy in between
Really?
grade 2 and 3 or grade 3 and
You've
4
heard
or
of
something like
I have a lot of friends in the Indus Academy, but
Nice.
definitely below you. So then you don't remember a lot from Karachi, like none of it, basically.
that. I mean, like a fair bit because I was there from the age of like 7 to 8. So
Yeah.
good fun.
So
friends.
were you picked on at all? Because like you come from Lesotho, and then I'm assuming that you're not really proficient in Urdu. And then because
Yeah.
when we moved from California when we were 9, and bro, we didn't know any Urdu for like the first year and a half, and like you can assume the
Yeah, it
abuse
was like
that
so.
we faced.
So it was weird because like there were quite a few kids in my year whose Urdu was terrible, and so there was a separate like Urdu as a second language class, and
Yeah.
I was like top of that class. So I was like the king of the losers in Urdu as a second language. Me and this girl called Tanya, who I had a bit of a crush on. And then at one point, they thought I was good enough to go graduate to the main Urdu classroom, and that was way too hard. I could not stand that. I was like, I want to go back where I can have fun and chill out with Miss Maria. She was fantastic.
You were like a big fish in a pond. Just enjoying
Exactly.
that.
I wanted to stay the big fish in the pond. I didn't want to go up to a class where people could actually speak Urdu.
Yeah. We all had a Miss Maria that was really nice to us because we stuck at Urdu.
Yes.
And then you moved back to the UK, and where are you living in the UK at this point?
At this point, I was living in Wiltshire, which is like the countryside of the UK, where there's a lot of like, I don't know, just like traditional English country town kind of vibes. So it was good. Like me and my brother were like, there was one other black family in our school. Everyone else was white. So yeah, that was cool.
So you didn't stand out at all, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, not in the slightest. Although it was weird because like when I was in Africa and when I was in Pakistan, I was pretty light skinned, like all things considered. And so when I remember my first day of school in Wiltshire when I came to the UK, and everyone was white, and I was like, oh my god, these people are my color. And it was only later that I realized, hang on, there's like it doesn't quite work like that.
We faced the same thing when we first moved to Toronto. We went into a very like a mixed school, so there was a lot of racial diversity, but there was also those labels like, oh, that guy's brown, that guy's black, that guy's white, and I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, wait, a dark person is considered black, right? That's what it is. And then I was quickly told, no, that's not how it works.
You ain't black.
And then we were also categorized as being fobs, and we didn't even know, like, we were so big of a fobs that we didn't know what fobs meant.
Yeah, what is a fob?
Okay, so fobs,
fresh off the boat.
fresh off the boat, Ali.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly what we
everything.
were. Yeah, and then we were just like, okay, and then we had to do some like market correction and like realize what was happening.
Yeah.
It was a. Did you face that culture shock in that predominantly white school at all?
I don't think I did. To an extent, I did. The one that sticks out is that in Karachi, if you were fat, people would call you fat and call you fat to your face, and it was just like the thing that you would call someone a mortar or it was just like so standard.
Yeah.
And so when I came to the UK, there was a kid in my class who was a bit overweight, and I used to casually call him like fatty or fatso or things like that.
Yeah.
And it was like a few weeks into this that my teacher sat me down and she was like, look, Ali, it's not very nice. It hurts his feelings. And I just did not register that calling someone fat was like a mean thing, because it was just so normal in Karachi back in the day.
Yeah, like picking on you was a form of humor in Karachi. Like you that's just how people.
It's not even if you're fat. He was pretty thin back when he was, hitting puberty, and people would call him like
last year.
Yeah, like a matchstick or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tili. I used to be called Tili because I was just like, just the thinnest dude you'll ever see. And like it's both spectrums, Ali. It's both spectrums. and then you, it's just you and your brother and your mom, and you're living in this like countryside, and it's all good.
Yeah, it was our grandma as well, so she moved around with us quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then they changed like the visa rules, so then she was staying 6 months here and 6 months in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And that's been the vibe ever since, really.
When was the last time you went back to Pakistan?
I think like 2 years ago, 2019.
How was that? Did you get recognized
2018 to 19. Sorry?
Did you get recognized there at all?
By my family, yeah. Like they knew you were.
Okay. Let me rephrase. Did you get recognized with people that you did not associate with?
I didn't get recognized on the streets, but when I would post on my Instagram story, so many people would be like, "Oh my God, you're in Karachi, do a meetup," and things like that.
Did you?
No, I didn't. I want to next time. It was.
Why were you there? Were you there for like in search of your future wifey, or?
I mean, the official reason was that it was my cousin's wedding, but obviously the unofficial reason is that when you go to a wedding, you're in search of your future wifey.
Right. Yeah, it's the number one Minder.
Exactly.
It's Minder in real time.
Minder in real time. Annoyingly, there weren't that many new people to meet at the wedding, and maybe there were, but I was just like, oh, I can't be asked. I just want to hang out with my boys and just like drink loads of 7-Up. So that was my vibe.
So now when you go back, do you get culture shock in Karachi, or is this just it's all good? It's home.
It feels pretty normal. I feel like I've traveled around a fair bit. So culture shock isn't really something I experience very much. I'm just still surprised as to how slow the internet is and that we still have power cuts.
But I think if you go back this time, it might be a bit different because you've grown exponentially as a YouTuber, and our friends who are in the medical community in Pakistan who go to universities, they watch your videos and you're like a household name there.
Really? Sick.
Yes. You'd be surprised. You know how much clout I got when I told people that like Ali Abdaal is coming to our podcast, and they were just like, what? Tell him I want to marry him. And these were not just women.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm very flattered.
And I was just like, yeah, for sure. I'll let him know. But like it's grown. Like, and the thing is, it's very nice to see someone of the same background, same color, same ethnicity doing exponentially great numbers on YouTube. And that's exactly why me and Bashar were talking about how we look up to you in a lot of ways, because you're doing exactly what we hope to do in a couple of years. And not to give you the burden of responsibility, but like you have the burden of responsibility.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I'm often surprised by how many comments I get from people saying, "Bro, are you Indian?" and fewer people saying, "Bro, are you Pakistani?" Yeah. Mostly it's, "Bro, are you Indian?" That's like.
Do you ever deal with that identity crisis, or do you just claim you're Pakistani here? Like you can't hide it, right? It's who you are.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't really mention that, hey, back home in Pakistan, because I only lived there for like a grand total of 3 years of my life.
Yeah.
But if anyone asks me, then obviously, yeah, man, Pakistan, homeboys all the way.
So then you did your schooling there in that small town. Where was it? Wiltshire?
Wiltshire, yeah.
Wiltshire, yeah. And then you take the immigrant route, which is doing medicine, or did you actually want to do medicine? You can tell us here.
Yeah. See, I don't know. It's like my mom's a doctor, and like, when you're good at science and like it's such a default that I don't know to what extent it was a personal choice and to what extent it was the only thing that I knew existed.
Yeah.
Because it was only when I was like 17, 18 when my friends were like, yeah, I'm doing history at university. It's like, why the hell are you doing history? They were like, I don't know, because I like history. It's like, what? What are you going to do? Become a history teacher? And they were like, no, I'm going to go into banking. Like, what the hell is banking? I just didn't know that these careers existed outside of you can be a medic or a vet or a lawyer.
Yeah. So if you had the chance to go back and tell 16-year-old Ali, would he do anything different then?
Oh, I love medicine. Medicine is sick. I'm so glad I did medicine. Like there are so many benefits of doing medicine outside of the fact that you've gone through medical school. The main one is the fact that it's double the time at university. And university is so fun and so chill that 6 years at uni is so much better than 3 years at university.
Oh, wow. See, I had a completely different experience at university. I didn't like it at all.
Really?
And
why is that?
I think it was because I was doing something I didn't like at all. And, I'm the eldest, because that's why I was really relating to what you were saying, is that you're the eldest as well. And then I'm the eldest. And then we have this preconceived, like this thing that our parents put upon us that this kid is going to do exactly what we're going to tell him to do. And he's going to like take the banner of our family and all those things. And I just wanted to not do that. And it was difficult for me to like translate that to my parents. They just couldn't understand it for the longest time. So I was engineering for 2 years, hated it. Then I switched out and now I'm doing marketing business. And it's pretty cool. This is better, but I still wouldn't want to do it.
So why are you doing university at all? Isn't it more cool to drop out of uni these days than it is to graduate?
Yeah, that's true. I really do want to do that, but I'm not at that level where I can just drop out and be cool and like, and people like accept it. I'm not Bill Gates or Steve Jobs yet.
They dropped that from Harvard. So, I mean, that's a different level of intelligence.
That's exactly what my dad says. Like, whenever we have this intense conversation, I'm like, but Bill Gates dropped out and Steve Jobs dropped out. And they're like, yeah, but from where?
Or even when we say like, hey, Ali stopped practicing medicine, and he's like, yeah, but he's a doctor. He has something to fall back on.
Yeah.
So
you're a big debate like on dinner tables. You're just like, Ali Abdaal is doing this. And I showed my dad the video where you were breaking down how much money you made in 2020. And he's like, I paused at the fact that he made 25,000 pounds at the doctor, and then all this other thing as like this YouTuber thing that he really wants to do as well. And my dad just was like, so what? The doctor thing is more important, and he's helping people. And I'm like,
YouTuber's gonna die.
That's literally my mum as well. 100%. What my mum says every day.
Yeah. So how do you try to convince her? What do you do?
It depends on how I'm feeling. It depends on how keen I am to have an argument.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just in that mood where you're like, you know what, let's just go. Let's just go for it. Other times when I'm a bit more mature, I'm just like, you know what, that's fine. I understand that she means well, and there's no value in me trying to lock horns with her and be like, no, medicine sucks.
No, for sure. And that's what I've learned as well. Because my parents, like, they grew up in a time where skill-based learning was the way to move forward and move and navigate the world. I feel like now we're, at least us, like first generation immigrants, we're in a place where we're like, we can do what we want and still make money off of it. And that idea is really hard for them to register.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, I think with my mom as well, like she knows a few people who are friends of hers, who didn't take medicine seriously. And then they tried doing business 30 years ago and that business failed. And now they regret not taking medicine seriously.
Yeah.
And she worries that I'm going to end up in that same position. And I can see why she worries about that. But I feel like the world has changed so much. And, the position that me and my brother are in, and I guess that you guys are in, it's because our parents have sacrificed for us that we can have the luxury to do what we want and still make money from it rather than have to go down a prescribed route.
Yeah.
At what point did your mom take your YouTubing career like seriously?
Never.
Yeah, never.
Does she still take it now?
It depends what seriously means. I mean, it's funny because she was saying the other day, you know what, Ali, there's actually a lot of money to be made in medicine. I was like, oh yeah. She was like, see, I've got this colleague and he's been doing locums, and locums are like extra shifts that you pick up. And he was like, he's taken annual leave from his actual job. And then he did locums for a month and he made 25,000 pounds that month. I was like, okay. Do you have any idea how much money I made in the last month? And it was, it's, I don't know. It's a little bit odd.
Yeah. And then, so when you're in school, you started making YouTube videos when you were in university. Am I right? Or was it high school?
Yeah, I was in university. I started taking it seriously when I was in my final year of medical school, but I sort of dabbled here and there initially because I'd been wanting to be a YouTuber for since 2008, ever since I discovered Kurt Schneider and Sam Sui and these in Boyce Avenue, these people doing popular like covers of popular songs, and I wanted to be that guy. And I had some friends who were amazing at singing, and I thought, hey, I can learn lots of different musical instruments, and that would be cool. And then I can make the songs, and my friends can sing them, and we can film it on YouTube. And I just never took it seriously. I just kind of did it one summer or one video. And if someone had told me that, bro, the way to be a YouTuber is just make one video every single week for 2 years, maybe I would have done it. But I don't know. I just didn't have the mental model of consistency being important at the time.
No, that's literally the model we follow. Hearing you do it, like you told us, not us specifically, but you told people in your video that if you want to grow on YouTube, it's a video a week and make it consistent and make it good. And that's literally what we do. And here we are.
Yeah, and you're like a living and breathing embodiment of what you preach. So.
Yeah, you do like 3 a week. I'm like, it's every other week. I'm like one of those Bell Icon fans where it's just like, boom, Ali Abdaal new video.
Thank you.
I'm like, great,
appreciate it.
Awesome. So then this was 2008 and 9, right? And then you obviously didn't pursue it as religiously or as poignantly as you wanted to. And then what point does it become a real thing where you're pursuing it once a week?
Yeah, it became a real thing when I realized I could make money from it, because I had a business that was teaching kids how to get into med school in the UK. And so I thought, like, 5 years into running this business, things weren't going too well. There were all competitors coming up every time. And I thought, hang on, one thing that no one is doing is video content marketing. Like, no one was making videos about how to do well in these exams. And if they were like super cringe and boring and just not nice.
Yeah.
And so I thought, hang on, I've been teaching people this BMAT and UCAT and interview stuff for the last 5 years. Why don't I just make videos about it? And hopefully some people will watch the videos and think, oh, this guy's legit. He knows his stuff. Let's sign up to his paid course. So it started off as like a content marketing strategy for my business.
Yeah.
And then quite quickly I was like, hang on, I was on my medical elective in Cambodia doing this plastic surgery thing. So I thought, hey, let's vlog my medical elective, because vlogging is a thing. And then I realized that
I'm just going to cut you off for 1 second. How, at such a young age, did you start a business? Like, where was the wherewithal where you were like, I'm going to start a business about this, and this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to help people, and they're going to get into med school, and I'm just going to be that guy. How does that? Because you were 16 or 18 when you started that, right?
Yeah,
late teens.
I've been trying to make money on the internet since the age of 12. So every year, me and my friends would come up with a new business idea, whether it was a pyramid scheme for multi-level marketing or an affiliate paid surveys or, niche site affiliate stuff. When I was like 12, 13, I learned how to code and did freelance web design and had like my own web design studio in kind of air quotes. Yeah. And so I had this bug of making money on the internet for such a long time, but it was like 6-7 years of failed projects. And then when I got into med school, it was like all of that background came in handy when I thought, hang on, why don't I just teach people how to get into med school? Because I think I'm a pretty good teacher.
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on, I can make a website for this. And at the time, it was hard to make a website look good. And I knew how to make websites look good because I'd been doing it for so long. So I had that unfair advantage of having this sort of string of failures under my belt when I was growing up so that the business could be successful from day one.
No, 100%. And then that's the thing that really inspires me about your character arc, if you will, is that you learn from your failures, you apply them to your successes, and then you get more successful. Isn't that the model for anything you want to do?
I guess so, yeah.
Right, I guess you're like subconsciously, like all the 6 years of your failed businesses, they set you up for having a successful business of what you're doing now.
It was so fun as well. Like I loved trying to build it. It was so exhilarating. It's like get home from school and just like hop on the computer and like into Dreamweaver, which it was at the time, and just try and make this website go off the ground and bid for projects on rentacoder.com and try and outbid all these like Indian outsourcing companies who were charging like $2 an hour and be like, I'll charge $1.50 an hour because I'm just a kid. And making real money on the internet it's just a completely life-changing thing when you make your first internet dollar.
So how at 12 years old were you like, I'm gonna make money on the internet? When I was 12 years old, I was crushing on the girl next to me, and that's it. I couldn't even talk to her.
Oh, I went to a boys' school, so that probably explains it.
There we go. Yeah. But like, was it like, how do you fall upon that though? That idea of making money on the internet?
There was this one moment, like I was in the computer room at lunchtime, and when you're a nerd like I was and my friends, we were in the computer room playing like Miniclip, but like trying to get around the school filters by playing Miniclip and things like that. Yeah. And I saw some kid who was like in the year above, so he would have been like 13 while I was 12.
Yeah,
and he was like he did the right click view source on the Google homepage, and he was just like tweaking some stuff, and he sort of changed the logo of Google to say like Boogle or something like that.
Yeah.
My mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, this guy's a hacker. So sick.
This is
And then
like the Ali
yeah.
Abdaal origin story right now.
And then my friends and I were super into playing this game called Kings of Chaos, which was this web-based, text-based role-playing game where you had like a fortress and you would attack people, and then it would say, you have attacked this person and you now get X resources and you can buy weapons with them and stuff. And I noticed that game, that website had a .php extension on the file thingy. So I was like, okay, what the hell was this thing? PHP. I was like, oh, this is like a programming thing. And oh my God, if I learn PHP, I can make a game like Kings of Chaos. And that's kind of how it started. I was like, hang on, this is really cool. I really want to make this game. And then I realized it's like really hard to make a game. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll settle for learning how to make websites first. And then I was like, hang on, I've got a few friends who like need a website made. Like their parents needed a website for something. Let me just charge them £20 and I'll make a website. And they give me 20 quid and I made a website. I'm like, bloody hell, I'm making money.
Right? Immediately your brain goes to like, you know, this is a service that I have that I can make money off of. Like, I don't know if it was like the way we grew up or what. Like in Pakistan, it was more like, okay, you're a photographer, you're my friend, so you're gonna do it for free, right? Like we know each other for like the past 5 months, 6 months. Like, you're gonna do this for free, and that's the thing where I feel like the edge that you had, it was so much more successful. Like it's great that you had that
business oriented
mindset.
I mean, in fairness, I did offer to do the websites for free. Friend's dad was nice to me and said, no, I'll pay for it.
And then at what point did you feel that you were starting to get quote unquote big? Because this is like, if you're going to ask us in retrospect in like 2 years, at what point we thought we got big is when we got Ali Abdaal on the podcast. So this is our moment. We've peaked. This is it. It's all downhill from here.
I thought I got big at 5,000 subscribers. That was the milestone.
Is that true?
That was
absolutely
was the mark. That was the mark where I was like, okay, I didn't think I'm big. That was the point where I stopped worrying about my YouTube channel, because I knew that if I ever needed an idea for a video, I could just do a Q&A, and enough people would ask questions at that point for it to be worthwhile. Or if I ever ran out of ideas, I could say, hey guys, what do you want to see a video about? When you have 5,000 subscribers, in fact, when you have a lot fewer than that, but at 5,000, it was like, now I'm confident that I will never run out of video ideas because I can always just ask the audience.
Yeah.
And it was around that time that, in fact, I think it was before that time where I started getting like recognized in Cambridge. It was like, I think I probably had.
Did you feel like a celebrity ever? Did you ever have that moment where you're like,
because we know you, but you have no idea who we are. We're just a number on your subscribers list.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know what it's like to feel like a celebrity. I don't think I feel like a celebrity. I still kind of feel that, like, there was one. I think the closest I've come to it is, so sometime in 2019 I was in Bulgaria in a town called Plovdiv, which is where there is a medical school apparently, and I got recognized like 7 times on the streets of Plovdiv.
Oh my god!
And the reason for that is that it's a very small university town that's basically taken over by the med school. And there's loads of brown people in that med school who didn't get into medicine in the UK, who then went to Plovdiv, and like loads of them were following my channel. So it was like the population of this town like knows me through YouTube, which is why I got recognized so often. But that was like a very specific circumstance.
Does that vanity ever get to you though? Or does Sheen always bring it down? Like humbles you immediately?
Sheen always brings it down. Yeah, she brings me back down to earth. Yeah, it's just kind of funny. Like the thing is, like if I get recognized in real life, I feel like I am also overthinking the interaction quite a lot, to be like, oh, I really want to be nice to them. But I don't know how much, they're like, oh my God, I watch your videos. They're like, oh, thank you. It's like, is there a follow-up? Like, what do you think of them? And it's like, so sometimes it's just in passing. Sometimes it's just, I don't know. It's, I don't feel very smooth when it happens. I feel like if I ever start feeling smooth, then I'll be like, yeah, I'm a big deal.
No, I've seen that from a lot of like humble quote unquote content creators who, when you meet them in person, they're like almost like hesitating, and they want you to have the best experience in that like 3-4 minutes or whatever window you have with them. And it's always weird to see them, like, because I'm like, relax. I'm a fan. There's nothing you can say that'll like upset me. Yeah. But then, sometimes they do.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the cool thing that the way that's actually impacted my life is when it wasn't the pandemic. once a week I would station myself in a coffee shop in town, and it would just be like a free for all. Like whoever wants to come and have a chat can have a chat. And we had this like Calendly link booking system where like every hour, like up to 4 people could join the coffee
That's
session.
amazing.
And so this was like quite nice for a few months when it wasn't locked down last year.
Yeah.
And each week we'd have sort of 5 or 6 people, and it would be really nice because they'd all have the fact that they like me in common, but then they'd all kind of get to know one another. And there were a few, you know, it would just end up going on, and then we'd have dinner in the evening as well. And it was just like quite wholesome and nice. And that was like a cool way of meeting people.
But now you do study sessions on Zoom with like 200 people.
Yeah, it's not quite the same, but you know,
I joined a lot of your write-in sessions as well. It was 5 a.m. here in Toronto, but I was like, I'm going to do it. Either I stayed up all night or I woke up really early.
Solid. Yeah, I need to resume those. Those were quite useful.
So because you're a YouTuber now, right? You dabble in so many different fields. You're multifaceted just because of the job that you do. You're a podcaster, you're a content creator, you're a writer, you're so many different things. What aspect of all of those things do you relate with the most? What is the closest to you, and how do you, you know, like make it, like what is the best form of that to you, of those jobs?
I still identify primarily as a doctor, but I suspect that's because it's just such a default state of being for me now, like either medical student / doctor.
Yeah.
Like the thing that ties all the stuff that I do together is that I think the thing that brings me the most fulfillment is teaching. And I've been into teaching since like really young. Yeah. And everything that I've done that's been successful has involved teaching in some capacity. And so writing or YouTubing, in a way, podcasting, it's all really just teaching in various forms. And so, yeah, I just consider myself, you know, I'm just a dude who likes teaching. And so I like learning things and then teaching them to other people, and then it's fun.
You're damn good at it too. Yeah, we like learning off of you. It's your like I started reading again because of you. Like all of your book reviews, your book clubs, some fantastic books that you review, and we've become huge fans.
Nice.
Do you ever get starstruck with the people that like know you? Matt Davila, us.
Starstruck is a strong word.
Do you ever get starstruck though?
I don't think I would. Yeah, I've never kind of stumbled across someone really big in real life, and yeah, I don't think.
What about like online interactions? Because like Matt Davila has been on YouTube for like. You had James Clear on your podcast. James Clear, he's a good one.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with those, like the one that felt the biggest was my favorite author, Brandon Sanderson, who was on my live stream. Yeah, that felt like the biggest one. But even then, I feel like when I'm having those conversations, I'm always conscious that I know they would rather relate to me as if I'm a peer rather than as if I'm a fangirl. And so I tried to tone down the fangirliness and occasionally dial it up, because I just know that makes for a more interesting conversation. Yeah. Whereas like when I've been interviewed where the person is so much of a fanboy that the conversation doesn't go anywhere, it's just a bit dead. And so
wait. Yeah. Honestly, we've been talking for half an hour. Have you felt that so far?
No. I think you guys are doing a good job. Yeah.
Because holy shit, we were like shitting our pants. And like at one point when it was like 3:01 at our point, he was like, Bulia, he's not coming. He's forgot. It's done. We're done. Like I was checking the Zoom. It was just it was pandemonium. So okay, I'm glad that we dialed it down. I want to talk about your podcast. Like what do you look to achieve with the podcast? Because I have a podcast with my brother as well. And sometimes it can get difficult, but how is your relationship with your brother and how does that translate to the podcast?
Oh, we don't try to achieve anything at all with the podcast. The podcast is just a way for us to have a chat every week. And if people want to listen, they can listen.
Literally the same thing with us. And it's just that, but do you find yourself chasing after him? Like, yo, do you want to do the podcast this week or not? Or is it just like you guys both are on like the same synergy and you're just like, okay, today it's Sunday, 3:00. We're doing a podcast together.
He is actually slightly more keen about it than I am. Like he's often the one who says, when are we doing the pod this week? And occasionally when I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I can't be bothered, he's like, no, dude, we've got to do it. So yeah, I think it's good. It's nice having him to sort of being in the driver's seat for the podcast. We also have this like kind of paid community of people who listen to the podcast, and he very much kind of drives that as well and arranges the events and stuff.
Does your brother ever put you in check?
Like because my brother is also one of my best friends. Like if I'm ever like going overboard or like when you followed me, I was like the cockiest person for like 3 hours. I was like, don't talk to me now. Like Ali Abdaal follows me. Like, relax. Right.
Wow.
And then like it happens. And then he was like, who the hell do you think you are, bro?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, my brother was like that for me as well.
Yeah.
Anytime I tweet something that he, like the other day, he screenshotted my tweet being like, why the hell did you tweet that? I was like, why did you use this phrase specifically?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah.
What would we do without these people, these lower people?
These lower people, exactly. If I need a font choice, font recommendation, be like, just send it his way. What do you reckon?
Yeah. And how involved was Taimur in your quote unquote success in it? Because he does his own thing, right? But like he's also very much involved in what you do.
Yeah, he very much does his own thing. He's good to have there as like a sounding board.
Yeah.
And when we were sort of like 2014, 2015, we collaborated on this like medical exams software thing, like an online question bank. So I did the front end stuff, he did the back end stuff. No, other way around. I did the back end, he did the front end. And we made these two things, which were reasonably successful. So he kind of helped with the business in that regard. But he's always kind of mostly done his own thing, which is good in a way, because like we're in fairly different like fields. Yeah. In that he's doing his startup and they've just like raised more money and stuff. And it's just like a very different field to what I do, which is trying to be an internet guru.
Yeah. And you guys don't like, step over each other's feet.
Yeah, no, there's none of that at all. At least not from my end. I don't know if he feels it, but yeah.
One thing that I notice a lot in your videos is that they're really productive and they're a way to live your best life. At least that's what they're trying to do. Those videos are trying to make you live your best life.
That's a good phrase. I'm going to write that down. Living your best life.
Go ahead, take it away. And the one thing that I don't see in your videos, and this is not a constructive criticism or anything, this is an observation, is that you don't really, I don't know if it's a conscious choice or not, but you don't really show a lot of sad moments or grief in your videos. Why is that?
I just don't really experience. Yeah, honestly, I don't experience very many sad moments. And when I do, I think, oh, sick, this would make for a good video.
Yeah. So we haven't seen any of those videos. Like, what about like if a girl rejects you, or if she's being mean to you, or I don't know, like you write this whole like manuscript and you accidentally delete it, and you're like, oh no, like those are like genuinely like terrifying moments. Yeah, but like your videos are squeaky clean with like happiness, positivity, be your best self, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so Sheen's mean to me every day, so it becomes like when it happens so regularly, it just becomes part of your life.
Yeah,
but like I recently made a video called "I Wasted the Last 6 Months of My Life," where I was talking about, I was like, guys, this is going to be a video where I talk about my feelings. Yeah. I've been doing this book, and like I sent it to some editors, and they said it wasn't very good, and I have to start again, and this feels really hard. Occasionally, I do indulge myself and do videos like that.
Yeah,
but I just genuinely don't experience negative emotion very often at all.
That's a superpower. Man.
Yeah. And so my brother would say that I'm probably bullshitting myself. And actually I do. I'm just sort of pretending that I don't. But like I can't remember the last time I was genuinely sad.
So like, okay. So your brother thinks that you're like putting up a wall, like suppressing your feelings.
He thinks that for example, we did a podcast a few weeks ago where I was talking about how I stumbled across this thread on this website called Tattle, which is like a gossip type website where people gossip about celebrities. And there was an influencer section of that. And there was like a 7-page thread about people hating on me, saying that, this guy's selling snake oil. He's not, I used to follow his channel because, but now he's just obsessed with money and, this sort of thing. And we were talking about it on the podcast, and Tame was wondering why I wasn't admitting that it made me feel bad.
Yeah.
And we were trying to break this down. It was like, I wouldn't call that in the realm of feeling bad. Like, it didn't feel good, but like not feeling good is not the same as something feeling bad. And for me, like feeling bad is like when I've been mean to someone and like, or someone hates me for a warranted reason, or things like that. So I don't know.
I'm going to ask you, like, how do you deal with like threads like those or like negative comments on your videos? Like, people saying that, you are out there like looking to like milk people out of money, or like just totally like unbiased weird stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if it's true, then I'm like, yeah, fair play. And if it's not true, then it's generally very easy to be like, okay, well, that's just not true.
Yeah.
It's when it sort of has like a grain of truth to it. If it, the ones that I feel, the ones that I think about for more than a second are the ones where they're like, hey, Ali, I followed your channel in the early days because you gave off this vibe of just being really open and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm going to unsubscribe because ever since you said you've got a Tesla and ever since you revealed how much money you make, it's obvious you're just doing this for the money. Therefore, I'm unsubscribing. It's that kind of stuff where I'm like, oh, damn. But beyond that, there's not a lot of comments that like kind of I think about at all beyond the 3 seconds it takes me to screenshot and post it to my Instagram story.
How much of your day is spent on reading comments?
Probably the sort of 20 minutes that I'm on the toilet most days.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you actively read all of them, or you're just like scrolling through them, or whatever comes up? I guess
it depends. Like I think recently over the last few months, I've been reading them a lot less than I used to. In the past, I used to make it a point to read absolutely everything, and I'd know I'd read it because I would always like every single comment.
Yeah.
And so if I scroll, I can see when was the last comment I've liked and just read. Now it's like there's a lot of other stuff going on, and so I'm just like, I partly because I view the YouTube channel as being like a business first and foremost. So
yeah,
like if I release a video and it's got 300 comments, like we put out one like a couple of days ago, I've read like just kind of scrolled through about 3 or 4 comments. In the past, I would have read all 300.
So it's because you're looking for feedback, not because you're looking for instant gratification or negative comments that can pull you down.
Yeah, the gratification comes from it shows you on YouTube Studio like how well your video is doing, and if it's not doing very well, I'm like, oh crap, might as well end my life. And there's no comment that's gonna help get over that feeling.
Like last week.
Yeah, and if it's doing well, I'm like, yeah, it's doing well. And if it's doing well, I'm more likely to read the comments to be like, yeah, let's see how people are finding it.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in, eh? Like just being like, so much negativity being thrown your way. Like I was talking to Irfan Janeja about this, and like he to a point where he was just like, man, I can't do that anymore. He's off Twitter. Like he just that level, that magnitude of negativity that comes his way, and I guess your way, and people of your stature, it's just incomparable to me.
I don't know. Like I feel like 0.1% of my comments are negative. Like it's a very small proportion.
Yeah.
Of the overall stuff. Generally, people are nice. Like if you're teaching stuff on the internet and helping people live their best lives, usually no one has a problem with that.
Yeah, so. I guess so. And so what else did you have to ask?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about you're pretty open about revealing how much money you make. I wanted to ask you, like, and you also had a video about, does money buy happiness? But I wanted to ask you, like, at what point does the money in your bank account just become zeros? When do you stop counting, and when does it just become a number and not give you any more added satisfaction? Like there's a concept in economics of diminishing utility. Like, is it the same with money? Like after a certain point, it's just whatever.
How many zeros, Ali? How many zeros?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been thinking about this question a lot as like over the last like several years, because like when I started making money at university in like my second year, it sort of like in year 1 I made like sort of £5,000, but then in year 2 I made like £25,000, and that jump was like that. When it got to that point, I was like, okay, I now don't need to take money into account when thinking about how I'm living my life. At university, it's like, functionally that meant I can buy a new Apple product whenever it comes out, and I can go out to eat without worrying about the price of stuff. And beyond that point of £25,000 a year, I haven't felt any extra happiness as a result of making money. Yeah, like, but I think that's because most of my lifestyle is fairly
simple,
fairly like cheap. I mean, apart from the Tesla that I got as a business expense very, very recently.
That was smart.
I don't really buy anything fancy. Move. And if I buy something fancy, it's a business expense, and therefore it's basically half price. And I don't have to pay tax on it. So it's like, yeah, I don't really buy anything that requires large amounts of capital.
I guess that's a good way and healthy way to live, especially if you're making like money off the internet, which can be exponential at times. And then at times it could dry up. So you maintaining your lifestyle I think it's very healthy.
Yeah, I like to think so. I mean, I never actually track the numbers. So I don't know to what extent this is actually true. Like, for example, these days I'm totally chill about ordering a takeaway like every day, twice a day.
Yeah.
But I was like that when I was in like my third year of med school as well. So
Yeah, I'm like that now. And I live with my parents.
Yeah, nice.
So does that mean that you're doing takeaway every day, like you've given up on your lifelong goal of being a Gymshark athlete?
We try and go for healthy takeaway. Healthy.
What is healthy takeaway, Ali? Come on.
Healthy takeaway is a grilled chicken or salad from Subway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to give me a solid answer, but that makes sense.
Or even salad from Pizza Express. They've got a pretty good like polo like chicken salad thing, which is good.
That's a very British thing you just said. We don't have Pizza Express. So you're talking about your business model on YouTube. Do you still feel like you're an artist on YouTube, or did you never feel like an artist on YouTube, or was it always a business?
It was always a business. I don't know what it means to be an artist. Yeah.
I mean, I would take you as an artist. Why not? Like the way that you just the way you express yourself is there's art to it. It's like, you know, it grabs my attention, it retains my attention, and it makes me want to be a better person. Is that not what art is supposed to do?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess so. But it would be weird for me to pretend that art is the primary driver. It's money that's the primary driver.
For sure. Capitalism. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Money, status, prestige, all of that kind of stuff.
And yeah, at what point, like, because initially you started off making like videos on how to make good notes and then being a good doctor and being productive. At what point did you say, okay, I think I have an audience here. I should probably transition into doing other stuff, like helping people live a healthy, happier life?
It was, I think, about 6 months into starting my channel. I was like, I'm making content for students, but I'm going to graduate in 6 months' time. I need to change things up. And I sort of stumbled into, I tried out a few tech videos because I like the idea of doing tech and like desk setups, and that landed well. Then I kind of accidentally got into the productivity thing. And then over time, it's like every few weeks, I'll ask myself, okay, where's my channel actually going? And to be honest, in the playbook of the internet guru, everything kind of converges on the pillars of health, wealth, love, and happiness. And like everyone is kind of skirting around those in just like varying degrees.
Yeah.
And so I think at the moment I do sort of the productivity and the learning type things, but I'm thinking, okay, over the next 10 years, we want to kind of branch out into health and into like relationshipsy type things and into happiness and stuff, but doing it from the perspective of how do we do this like efficiently? What's like the 80-20, what's the minimum effective dose, kind of Tim Ferriss inspired, and doing it like evidence-based as well. That, okay, let's actually look at studies to see what people have said about X and what it can teach us.
Speaking of X, I don't want to sound like a Daily Mail journalist, but honestly, what's up with the Shadi thing?
What's wrong with the Shadi thing?
What's up with it?
What's up with it? What does what's up with it mean?
Like, are you like, because it's become a running joke on your profile, on your YouTube now, like, oh, you know, finding a wifey thing.
Yeah.
But is there truth to it, or are you just like playing the game?
No, there's definitely truth to it.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Are you? No. What I mean is, okay.
Yeah.
Let me contextualize this.
Sure.
Are you actively looking for a wife through YouTube, or is it like you're like ask your mom, or you're like Sheen's going out and asking her friends, or is it like you're gonna find love on YouTube comments? Is that what you're going for?
I am like I strongly believe that beggars can't be choosers, and so I am gonna do whatever it takes to maximize to stack the deck in my favor. That means like I do have my mum on wife hunt mode, where she's like asking around, and occasionally she'll like send me a WhatsApp picture or something, and you know, that kind of thing. Be like, hey, what do you think of this person? And I'm like, nah. Mm-hmm. I've also told all my friends that, guys, if you know anyone, let me know. But also, like, when you have an audience, it makes sense to leverage it. And so I have this email address where if people want, they can email me with like, address, you know, a little profile and a picture. And I've been on a few Zoom dates through that particular route.
And how are you as a Zoom date? Is it like, are you talking more or is she talking more?
I think it was kind of 50-50. Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on the person. So far I've only done one Zoom date with like a quote fan. And so yeah, it would be easy to read too much into that. But, yeah.
So we assume you started off studying medicine because you were, interested and passionate and good at science. But is medicine for you now just something to fall back on, or do you ever think that, we're in a pandemic, maybe I should start practicing again? The world needs me. The NHS needs me.
I never think in those terms because I'm not very altruistic just in terms of my own personal drivers, etc., etc. But I'm also very utilitarian in the way that I approach altruism, in that my net impact making videos on the internet is far greater than my net impact of being yet another doctor in the pipeline.
Yeah.
And so I think if the reason I don't feel bad about not working in a pandemic is that I objectively have more of an impact on the internet.
Yep.
Having said that, I am looking to go back into medicine just on a part-time capacity. So I've signed up for this locum bank for my local hospital. Yep. And I'm just waiting for them to sort the paperwork out. It's been like literally 6 weeks and they still haven't sorted the paperwork out. So I'm like, here, I was like, look, guys, I've given you all my material. I've got my police criminal records check pending. And I chase them every week, be like, hey, any progress, anything I can do to speed things along. It's just such an inefficient system that I'm kind of stuck here. And I actually want to go back to work and maybe work 2 days a week, but they're not letting me right now. It's really annoying.
No, I mean, I think what you're doing both on YouTube and as a doctor, it's monumental. Like when I say that, it's not, it is. I'll tell you why. Because what you're doing is, I'm not just speaking for us, but other YouTubers, big time YouTubers are like looking up to you and seeing your business model and seeing what you've accomplished. And if not trying to emulate it, then at least being inspired by it and making their own stuff. I think that's so valuable. The one thing that speaking of John Mayer, which I will talk about for like a brief moment, because we talked about it on Clubhouse and I was like, we need to talk about John Mayer. He talks about when he feels the most gratitude is when someone picks up a guitar looking to be the next John Mayer. And that's exactly what you've done for a lot of the quote unquote Desi YouTube community. It's just that we see your videos and we're like, you know what? I'm going to make another video today because Ali did it and he talks about this stuff and it actually applies to my life and I want to do it.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I just thank you for that, you know?
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for letting me know. That makes me feel good.
And then now we're going to segue into John Mayer. How big of a fan are you? Because we're fanboys, massive fanboys.
Massive.
Oh, okay. I discovered him last year. I hadn't heard any of his stuff before then.
Yeah.
But I just had him basically on repeat for all of last year. So now when I hear anything John Mayer, it just throws me back to like early pandemic where I was like going to work each day and back and listening to John Mayer in the car.
You also have a guitar in the back. Have you ever tried learning any of his songs? Because I've heard that people who start learning his songs appreciate him more because of how difficult his songs are to play.
Yeah, the only one I can actually play is In the Blood, which is very easy to play. All of his other ones are really hard.
Yeah, those are hard to play. And then we were talking about in Clubhouse, we were talking about how he's like the quote unquote modern day philosopher. And what I was saying about that was just the way his brain works. He's like a high frequency individual. Like there's no other way to put it. It's just on another level how he creates music and then how he talks about music.
Yeah, I've occasionally watched one of his like Instagram live streams and I'm like, damn, this guy really knows this stuff.
Yeah.
And it kind of inspires me to take a more first principles approach to music. Like when he says that really like understand the theory and create your own mental models of the guitar and music theory so that instead of just learning how to play a song, you learn why the song was constructed in that way and all the alternative ways you could play it if you wanted to.
Yeah. I follow you on Spotify as well, and I love the music that you listen to.
Yeah, we follow your playlist.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, we're fanboys. I don't know why you underestimated us, but we're dialing it to like 1 right now.
Have you ever felt that learning the piano that you have in the back of the guitar has like opened up a different part of your brain to like learn different things?
I don't think so. It's very mathematical.
Really?
Yeah, like playing the piano is like ridiculously mathematical. I'm surprised by how mathematical it is. Like it's actually really easy when you understand the math behind it. And that's like a lot of the stuff that I do. Even like now I'm taking art lessons and I am treating it kind of mathematically, like proportions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've been dabbling in freestyle rap and in a way I'm treating it mathematically as well. So like
Ali Abdaal mixtape dropping soon?
One day. I think the video's coming out like 2 weeks from now, so we'll see. But I think most of the things that I do are very like, is it left brain or right brain? Like whichever one is the more mathematical one and less creative one. So I think I suck at actual creativity, but I think I'm pretty good at putting things together.
So when you sit on a piano, when you play a chord, are you not playing the next chord judged by feeling, or are you just playing the next chord judged by math? Or like if you're playing a C, you're like, okay, automatically I'm going to go to an F because it's 1/4. Or are you just playing a C and then you feel like going to an F?
I don't feel anything. I play a C, and then I know that okay, this song is likely to go to a G, and then to an A minor, and then to an F, and therefore I'm going to try that. And the A minor doesn't sound right, so maybe let's try an F instead, or an E minor. You know. And I'm trying to move towards thinking of it as not even a C, thinking of it as a 1 to then a 4, and trying to do the whole ear training thing, so you can recognize a 5-1, for example.
We watched this movie called Soul at the end of last year. I'm not sure if you watched it, but that movie talks about finding your spark in life, and you're kind of like dabbling in different things. Are you doing that because you're trying to find your spark, or do you think you've already found it and you're just trying to explore different avenues?
I mean, I think my spark is really teaching. I can't imagine it changing. Maybe it will, but I kind of just like learning cool stuff because it's just kind of cool and it's fun. And I really enjoy being a beginner at something where every time you try it, you make some progress. And I don't really care about trying to be really good at anything because it's like that takes too much work and it isn't really worth it in my mind. So I just really like being.
It's better to be a generalist and know kind of a bit about everything.
Yeah, man. That's my whole spiel.
Hey, okay, Ali Abdaal. Thank you very much for being on our podcast.
It was an honor.
Thank you. This has been fun.
An honor. It was great having you. I can't believe you're actually sitting in front of us. Now I'm going to start fangirling proper. And hopefully next time you're in Toronto, after you're done meeting Peter McKinnon and Maddie, you can spare a few minutes and we'll catch up with coffee.
Yeah, totally.
My mom will make you the best biryani I've ever had.
Yeah, my mom's pretty good at biryani.
Okay, I'll drop you a message if and when I ever visit Toronto. But equally, if you're in the UK, hit me up.
100%. Are you living in Cambridge right now? Forever, Cambridge boy.
Cambridge boy for a while. I wanted to travel the world, but then pandemic, so we'll see.
Yeah. How is that? Are you still planning on doing that in 21 or 2?
I don't know. I'm planning to live in Europe for a few months when borders open up later this year. Yeah. I was toying with the idea of maybe going to America to do a master's in something, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It's all just a bit like.
As a doctor, are you not like supposed to be in the priority list of being vaccinated first, or is it because you're not practicing right now?
I think it's because I'm not practicing. Like all my friends who are actually working have had the vaccine.
So, okay. Yeah. Well, last question before I let you go. What's your Hogwarts house?
I've never done the test on Pottermore.
I think you should. I think that should be a separate video. I think that video would have its own fan base.
What would the title of the video be? I need a good title.
Finding out my Hogwarts house or getting sorted. Getting sorted in my Hogwarts house.
We'll
but right off the bat, I think you're a Ravenclaw. I would say that.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I'll let you know how it goes. I feel like that might be a second channel video rather than a main channel video. I keep thinking in those terms now. Like, is this like, is this sufficiently legit that it won't like crush me when it performs badly? And if that's the case, I'll just chuck it on the second channel and forget about it. So.
Well, Abdaal, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, man, for taking the time out.
This has been fun. Let's keep in touch. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon.
See you later.
Sure. Take care. Bye.